Nice. Hey, everybody.
We are live.
We are live. We are back. Excited
Welcome.
to
Welcome
be
back to the
here.
show.
Yep. We are excited to be here for our second round of doing this and learning as we go and being excited.
Yes. As you can see,
So,
Efren has a very fancy microphone. Um,
yes.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
Yes, I realized my audio last week was pretty garbage. And if we're going to ask people to listen to us talk, I need to have better audio.
Yeah.
So, and I did. So you guys know, I was like, hey, Gary, I bought this in
Yes, he
case you
told me.
want it too, so we can both look awesome.
Yes.
But listen, if some of you look at me like he's not using it right, I am a novice. I am new to all this. So you can make fun of me, but also teach me how to do better.
Yes. 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 My microphone, my fancy microphone, as Cole says, fancy, fancy,
That's right.
is in the mail on the way. And
Hmm.
so it will be here soon.
Yes, nice to have you, Cole. And notice because Gary and I representing the colleges that we love and cherish.
Dang right.
So he's got his NC State. I got my Florida Gators. I
Wolfpack.
know that makes Cole angry because he's a Kentucky fan, but I will
Yeah.
still love him. I won't hold that against him.
Yeah. We love you,
But
Cole.
yep.
We have a very special show for you all today.
Oh yes, Gary, tell him more, my man.
Oh man, I don't know if the word epic is too strong of a word, but I'm just gonna say it. It's gonna be epic.
Mm,
10 years of movies will be discussed today. We will
yes.
be talking and revealing our top 10 movies of the decade, 2010 to 2019, and we will be revealing each of our top tens. And I also want to say, neither one of us has seen each other's list. You do not look at another
Nope.
man's list. Um, So he does not know my top 10. I do not know his. And it could make for something very interesting, to
Yeah,
say the
and
least.
yeah, and we did it that way because we wanted to be able to have true reactions to what is made on that top 10 list. Like we wanted to see like, oh, I forgot about that, or what's wrong with you? Like
Yeah.
whatever it is. We wanted to have that. We wanted to
Yes.
have that real time, real reaction. So we are excited to do this. And also remember, like we said in our first episode, we're not real movie critics.
Mm-mm.
We're doing this based on our opinion. And so if a movie you love is left out, no need to hate. No need to
No
be
hate
angry.
necessary.
No, none at all. Listen, we are very much listen, we know movies are based on opinion, like whether you like them or don't like them. But these are our opinions. These are the ones that we've seen. Like there could be a movie
Yes.
where you're like, how can you not have this like on here? Maybe we just didn't see it. But these are the
Yeah.
ones that we've seen that we think are the top 10 and that we love. And some may have won awards and Oscars, some may not have.
Hmm.
So because
What is
again, it's our
Oscars?
opinion. It's that golden dude who stands there naked, the statue,
Oh,
that
yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, if there's a movie that is not mentioned today, put in the comments. Maybe it's something we haven't heard of that you can let us know, and we'll go check it out. I'm always open to watch new things
Absolutely.
that aren't too weird.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, if you have suggestions, and but we'll go through that. Oh, and Cole Vandiver, make sure he
Mhm.
throws out his Go Cats.
No profanity in
So,
the chat, please.
so listen, all I got to, I mean, like, I get it. Like, Kentucky fans, they have to be this way because all they
Mhm.
have is one sport to really cheer for.
Yeah.
So, at least with the Gators, I have multiple sports I can cheer for. Baseball does good, football's
Yeah.
on the rise, and basketball's mediocre, but we know whatever. We have our ups and downs. So,
Yeah. NC State, um, nah, been pretty
yeah.
mediocre for a little bit. Baseball team's really good. Uh, but
Yeah,
NC State does a good job of just reminding people that, hey, we're there, and don't sleep on them.
that's right.
Florida State knows that well.
Take
Uh,
that, Dom.
yeah,
So,
dang right, Dom.
but but don't want to
So,
go too far
oh,
down that rabbit trail. This is a movie
no,
channel,
yeah,
not a sports
exactly,
channel.
exactly. So how today is going to work? We will go back and forth. Number 10, number 10, 9. You know how numbers work. And then at the halftime portion, we will reveal our honorable mentions list.
Yes.
And basically, those are movies that we love that are worth mentioning, but just didn't make our top 10.
That's right.
So, and then
Yep.
we'll go 5-1.
Yep, and that's what we'll do, and we'll break it down. We'll talk a little bit about them, and we'll see reactions, and let us know in the chat. Like, what are your thoughts about what's coming up of the movies that we mentioned? Would you put that there? Like, just let us know, and then also, like, again, if you have a top 10, let us know in the chat as well, and probably while Gary's speaking, I will be checking our email because I forgot to do that earlier to see if any of you guys emailed us, and if you did, we'll bring those up as well.
That's right. I
And,
forgot. We have email.
That's right. We have email. So maybe during the honorable mentions, we can go through whoever emailed us if they did or whatever the chat says. So we can do that. So I guess I'm going first. I'm starting.
Yeah,
us
real
off.
quick, I'll throw a question out there. What's the
Yeah.
last? What movie have you guys watched lately? What's something you've watched, whether on Netflix or Redbox or whatever? Let us know in the chat what you've been watching.
Yeah. Yeah. That'd be great. So let's hear from you guys. This is why we like our setup. We're able to interact with you in real time. So this is great. All right. So I guess I'll get us started here.
Number
And
10.
so we are starting off with number 10. This is a movie that honestly will probably get brought up at a later date because it is a movie that is, in my opinion, very underrated.
Okay.
So it's like, and then we talked about doing that. So here is my first one, number 10,
Oh.
Man of Steel.
Man of Steel.
Man of Steel is my number 10. And I bring up Man of Steel because, like I said, this is, I feel, a very underrated movie. I feel a lot of people give it a lot of hate for no reason. Because I know people talk about, oh, it's too dark, or I don't like that it's the Superman killed someone and stuff like that. Listen, if you haven't seen this, I mean, this came out a long time ago. All right, so just also know there's gonna be spoilers left and right for the majority of these movies.
Yeah.
But this movie just, like, I'm not a huge Superman fan. Like, I'm really not. Like, I love, like Superman's one of those superheroes where I'm like, how can he relate? How can he be relatable? Because he just, like, he's super strong, super powerful. Like who can really stop? Yeah, the kryptonite thing, but it's like, whatever. So, like, I was never really a huge Superman fan, but this movie made me a Superman fan, and it was just really awesome, and I absolutely loved it. And so this is one that I was like, this changed the game. This started off what was supposed to be a promising DCEU.
Mhm.
But I just thought that this movie was a lot of fun. I thought it showed a lot of, it made Superman a little bit more real, like with him struggling with being an alien and like growing up and the decisions that had to be made. And, then when his dad died, which that was kind of a left turn I didn't expect.
Kevin Costner played that role beautifully.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And so you have that kind of struggle there. But then just seeing him not like trying to hold back, not really embracing all of his power. And then when he's fighting Zod and Zod, like, I don't care. He's just like going all out. And so it kind of left into the point where it's like, yeah, a lot of people are like, too much destruction. Yeah, you have these two superhumans going at it. And so, but I thought, like, the vision, the cinematography, like, everything just looked really cool, really awesome. It felt real. It was just to me, it was a lot of fun Superman movie. So it made number 10. And now I know, Gary, you might be like, wow, that might be a little low. But the thing is, when you see my other movies, I think you'll see why. But
Absolutely.
Man of Steel had to make my top 10.
I respect that very much. Very, very much. So, going into my list, my number 10 is also of the underrated family, I guess. And you
Mm-hmm.
will be talking about this movie at a later date as well. It is, let's see. Oh, did it come up?
Yeah, it came up.
Okay.
Again, we're novices. We're learning.
No.
Be
Yes.
patient with us.
I lost the tab. And we're back.
That's right.
All right. Source Code,
Oh,
starring Jake
man.
Gyllenhaal. Absolutely love this movie. One of insanely original, in my opinion. Such a fun movie to watch. I love the whole different reality type things, like trying to same setting, same scenario, trying to get something a different outcome from a situation. And this movie is just I loved it. Source Code. A lot of people don't talk about it. A lot of people haven't seen it. And yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal is awesome in this movie. If you have not seen Source Code, highly recommend it. And it plays like a great long episode of The Twilight Zone. You know, if you've never seen any of those, highly recommend Source Code. It's about a guy, you know, it's really hard to explain what it's about. You just have to see it, honestly.
Right.
Right. Out of 2011, Source Code, starring Jake Gyllenhaal. And there's a train in the movie, and I like trains.
Yes. And it was a movie that like I remember when I went to the theater to watch it, I just went because the trailer looked pretty cool and stuff like that. And then when I watched it, like even the ending, I was like, "Yo, that was cool."
Yeah,
that's one I will not spoil for you because if you haven't seen Source Code,
and that's why I was like, I was going to talk about it, but I was like, you know what, I don't want to spoil this one. A lot of people have not seen it. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
there we go. Source Code. That's my number 10.
Nice. Sorry. So there's number 10. Yeah, that is a good one. That it was funny. I actually did look at that one and I was like, where does this fall? You know, so it is a good one. So moving right along into number 9.
Number 9.
And let me pull up to make sure I give the proper number 9. Okay. All right. So here's number 9. And my number 9 is, for most people who know me, is probably like, this isn't very surprising. But here's my number 9, Avengers Infinity War.
Oh, yeah.
So Avengers Infinity War, I absolutely love this movie. When we went and saw it, I took a group of guys, pretty much seniors in high school or college age, and we all drove down to Atlanta to go see it in a true IMAX. And so we drove 5 hours to watch this movie, stayed in a hotel. But I wanted a true IMAX, you know, where when you walk in, you look up, the thing's like 6 stories tall. You have to climb up some stairs to get to your, you know. But, you know, there was a lot of buildup, obviously, to this and End Game, but there's a lot of buildup. But this movie, like I remember when we watched it, it was just completely awesome. And it was just something that was completely, I'm sorry, the children are beckoning.
We have kids. We have kids. Yeah.
Sorry, Nala.
Just a side note, Efren and I we hadn't met each other yet when this movie came out. We just before we started working together. So that is why I was not on the Epic IMAX trip. Just want to say that for the record.
Yes. No, he would have, he definitely would have been there if he was.
I would like to think so.
At any rate, sorry for the distraction. I mean, again, we're fathers. So
we're fathers.
This is just the way it is. So hold on. Now they're asking me if they can go swim. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Not right now. Wait till I'm done. That's all right though. But watch another movie, baby girls, or eat something. But go eat something. Sorry.
Yes.
But anyway, so Infinity War. Here we are, and like everything about this was awesome. Even though you didn't have like End Game, the big epic, everyone's out there, but you still had all those different moments with the different groups. And I just love how, you know, at the end of it, this is one like it made so much money. And like if you haven't seen it, come on, man. But
you gotta see it.
But I love that, you know, they actually lost. And I feel that's the hard thing with superhero movies is like they always win. So like, are there really any stakes? No, they lost. And so it was just great. Like everything about it was just awesome. I love the music. I love the tension. I love the epic moments, like when Thor shows up in Wakanda. Like they had all those epic moments when they were in a spaceship, like Spider-Man, like hit all the reveals of everyone. And then they go up in the spaceship and they take out Ebony Maw. Like all that stuff was just awesome. So this movie was great. And I was like, it deserves a spot in the top 10. So that is my number 9.
Infinity War. What a classic.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm not going to say much more because we'll be talking about it here soon.
Yeah.
So,
That's right.
my number 9 is a movie that really surprised me. It is Creed out of 2015.
Oh. Oh my
I am a
gosh.
huge Rocky fan. He is one of my favorite characters in
Mm-hmm.
all movies. I'm a huge Sylvester Stallone fan. When this movie was talked about, I was like, no way, please. I read the premise. I was like, that's dumb. I don't want
Mm-hmm.
any more Rocky stuff. Just let it be with Rocky Balboa. I thought that was a perfect ending. And then
Mm-hmm.
they cast Michael B. Jordan. And then I saw the trailer. And then I got excited. This movie is spectacular. Stallone kills it in this movie. Michael B. Jordan is phenomenal in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I left the theater just blown away at how much I loved it. Um, it revitalized the Rocky franchise,
Mm-hmm.
and it actually even made me excited for Creed 2 that came out a couple years later. And
Mm-hmm.
just can't say enough about Creed. Everything about it, I just absolutely loved, and I was blown. Like I said, I liked it more than Rocky Balboa, and I
Mm-hmm.
loved that movie. And just what they did with this was just spectacular. So my number 9 is Creed.
That's awesome, man. I forgot about Creed, like,
Love it.
which is crazy because it's where is it? It's up here somewhere in the back, like
Yeah,
it's in there. Like I
yeah,
have it, and I forgot about Creed. I guess I felt like it came out so long ago, but
yeah. I mean, when I saw it was
forget that it's in
2015, I
there.
was like, oh my gosh, that came out, man. You know,
Yeah,
um,
but like that was so good. I was with you, man. When I first heard, I'm like, really?
yeah.
Like we're doing this? But the trailer blew it away, and
The
it was awesome.
scene where he goes to, I don't want. It's not a deep dive, but when he goes to his restaurant and asks him to train him, and
Yeah,
he reveals that he's Apollo's son. That scene that's such a powerful scene.
it
You
is.
know, so
It
number
is.
9, Creed.
That is, and that is a movie that awards wise got I feel was underrated with some of that. But for another
Yeah,
day, for another day.
yeah. I'm not. I can't talk about that right now. I don't want to go on a rant. I don't want to go on a rant. This is good. This is good stuff today. It's good
Yes,
stuff.
that's right. We're all
Yeah,
talking about good stuff today.
but
So,
yeah, you
um,
will hear my views about that Oscar season at some point, though.
that's right. They need to. They need to hear it. So, okay, so here's we're on number 8. Yes, we're on number 8. So, my number 8 was a movie that I thought just when I saw the trailer, I'm like, this looks fun. And then when I watched it, like I went on a date with Katie. We went on a whim because I just wanted to watch it. Went after dinner, and I just absolutely loved it. And that movie is A Quiet Place.
Oh,
And this is a movie I'm like, hey, this looks cool. This looks like a cool thing. Jim is in this, and and
big tuna.
that's right. And I guess here's the best way I like. When I came out of this movie, I was like, I couldn't wait to tell everybody about it. And I was telling everybody, you have to go watch this movie. Like it is great. Um, and for me, like one thing is like you're watching this movie that doesn't have a whole lot of dialogue, obviously. And like I told Katie, I was like, I felt like when we were I thought we were only in theater for 30 minutes. Like that's how like into it I was. That's how intense it was. That's how much it just grabbed me in. And I
Mhm.
seriously, I thought 30 minutes had gone by, maybe 40, and the movie was over. I'm like, then my movie was short. And then I look at the time, like, oh dang, like it was
Yeah,
almost 2 hours, like or hour and a half, whatever it was. And I was just like, dang, this. But it was good because it just the lack of sound in the movie really made things so much more intense that you were just locked in and you didn't know what was happening. Yes, it had a score and there was some dialogue, but it was so perfectly used that it just made you like, what's going on? What's happening? Like you couldn't look away from the screen. Like if you had to pee, you were holding it,
yeah,
like because you're
yeah.
like I can't miss anything.
Mhm.
So this movie, just like I said, blew me away. I walked out of this theater and I was like telling my parents, telling friends, anyone, you have to go watch this movie. Like it is awesome. Me personally, I have never seen anything like it, being like that. So I'm like, please, like
Yeah.
everyone, watch A Quiet Place.
One of my biggest movie regrets is not seeing this in a dark, quiet theater.
Mm-hmm.
I love that movie, and at your recommendation, I was one of those people you recommended it to. I
Mm-hmm.
redboxed it one night. I think Megan was out of town or something, and I was
Mm-hmm.
home. Somehow I was home by myself. I don't know how it happened, but it happened, and
Right.
I watched it, and it was just in awe of this movie. That
Mm.
movie is just top notch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of which,
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. That's my wife, by the way. I have
Yeah.
recommended. We have planned to watch this movie. We're gonna watch it tonight, Megan. I think it's on Hulu.
Yeah,
So
it could be.
yeah, yeah.
But there you go. Like the fact,
Mhm.
like how are you being a true loving husband if you haven't had your wife watch this movie? Come on, man.
I know, I know. I have. I've recommended it several times. She thought it was a straightforward horror movie, and we're not big fans of
Oh
those, me
yeah,
and her. But I've tried to
that's
tell her,
fair.
no, no, it's a thriller. It's a thriller. But yeah,
Yes, it's a
Megan.
suspense thriller. It's
Yeah.
exactly what it is.
Once we get the kids to bed, we're watching A Quiet Place.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why dang Rona and all this stuff. We could have watched A Quiet Place 2 already, but now we
Dang
have
right.
to wait. Dang it.
Yeah.
But good things. We're talking
Good
about
things.
good things.
Good things. Good things. All right. So my number, what we at? Number eight. Number eight.
Yes.
So my number 8 is a movie that just kind of came out of nowhere for me, and I watched it and was completely surprised. It is
Here we go.
Edge of Tomorrow. Tom Hanks. Sorry, Tom
Oh.
Cruise, Emily Blunt.
Back to back Emily Blunt. Look at
Yeah,
us.
there we go, Mrs. Halpert. Yeah.
That's right.
This movie, I don't know when I saw it. I didn't see it in the theater, but this was. I'm talking about underrated, underappreciated. This movie is right there with me as far as some of my favorite sci-fi movies. On my movie shelf, it is right next to the movie Aliens, which is one of my favorite action movies / sci-fi movies of all time. This one I put right there with it. Love this movie. Tom Cruise playing a very different role, which really surprised me. He usually is not made to look, like a, I don't know, just to look bad in any movie. He's always the tough guy, and but in this movie he's completely fish out of water. A different role for him. And Edge of Tomorrow is a phenomenal sci-fi movie. If you've not seen this movie, check it out.
Yeah.
It is really good.
Yes. What was its original title? Was it always Edge of Tomorrow?
It was always Edge of Tomorrow.
Okay.
But they changed it to Live, Die, Repeat.
Right. Okay. Like the little
slogan
tagline
became the title. And I just think Edge of Tomorrow is just such a. This movie's like Aliens meets Groundhog Day.
Yes.
And it is. Yeah. Can't say enough how much I love this movie.
Yeah, I remember watching this, and I'll be honest. The first time I watched it, I was really confused. I was like, "What the heck is going?" For like the first half, and then I caught up. But it was. I think this might be the underappreciated. Deeper dive later.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry for the interruption, but Efren, as you go into your number 8, I have to leave to go let Dom into the building. He has locked himself out.
Yeah. Hey, remember, we're real pastors.
We're real pastors.
And both sides of that. So
Dom is lost. I have to go help find him.
All right. So as he brings that up, before you head out, though, here you go. The wife says you have tried to make her watch it several times. So hopefully we'll hear that feedback. Megan, we can't wait to hear that feedback. And as Gary hopefully goes out and comes back, I want to be able to go ahead and I see him. He's coming back. But yes, Edge of Tomorrow for you, those of you who haven't seen it yet. That is a great movie to go watch. Go watch Edge of Tomorrow. Rented it. Do something. Edge of Tomorrow is totally worth your time.
Oh yeah.
So make sure you do that. So we are now on number 7, and then so here is my number 7. This is the movie that it's like I've been waiting for this movie for a long time, and you'll understand why. And my number 7 is Bumblebee.
Oh.
So number 7, I bring in Bumblebee, and I say this because like I love like the other Transformers. Well, I don't love them. Like I love some of them. Some of them are just like, all right, this is just fun for action or whatever. Anyways, another segment for another day of guilty pleasures. But this one, when Bumblebee came out, when I first heard of this, I was like, why are you doing this? Like you just came off the Last Night, and like I think a year or so before, like why are we making this movie? And then I hear like we're kind of trying to do a soft reboot. We want to do Transformers right. And I was like, okay, you see the trailer and then you see all the Transformers have the G1 look. Like Bumblebee is actually a beetle like he was in the classic cartoons. And later on because of Bay and stuff, now he does the hot rod Camaro thing, but which is fine. But they had this movie and it has like the opening scene alone. I had so much fun because it was on Cybertron. It was some of the war. You see all of the, again, G1 Transformers. It was it was just like, I was sitting there and Katie's like, you're having so much fun with this. I was like, this is what I've been wanting. This is what Transformers fan everywhere.
That's
have
why
been
we go to the
wanting.
movies. Am I right? To have fun.
That's right, and it was just so fun. It was a blast, and then of course you can tell that they had a lot of influence from the Iron Giant because the way Bumblebee interacts with the actress. I forgot her name in the movie now. This is terrible, but anyways, like how they react, how they kind of try to live together and stuff has a very Iron Giant feel. And of course, John Cena's in this. You don't see him for most of the movie.
Oh, you don't see him? You never see him.
You can't see him. I don't understand.
I was going to ask who that fellow is in the middle is because I can't see him.
That's right. So, but he's in it, and like honestly, I mean, he did an okay job. You know, he's not the best actor, but it was just so much fun. I went and told my other friend, who hopefully we'll probably have on here at some point. I told him, I was like, listen, like this is the Transformers we've been wanting. Like, yes, we appreciate and liked the ones we got, but this is the one we've always wanted. And so, cool. Bumblebee also underrated. Didn't make as much money, probably because it just came off of 5 Transformer movies, and the last one just wasn't very good. So people were kind of like, and it came out at Christmas with a bunch of other stuff. But listen, if you like Transformers, if you like a good coming of age story, Bumblebee is the movie for you.
Well, I have nothing to say to that, to add to it, because I've seen none of those movies. But I will say I've talked to Transformers fans. You are one of them, and I've never heard one say they didn't like that movie. And so I'm glad you guys have something to like. Yes. I've heard horrible things about a lot of the other ones,
and which are granted, they were well deserved. But they like this one. I was like, finally, can we? Yes, please. Like, and it ends with a promise of we're going to continue the story. And we're like, yes, please, please continue this story. This is what we want. So.
Hopefully, they keep making them, on that.
Yep.
Cool. Well, my number. We're number 7. All right. Number 7 for me is one of my favorite comic book movies, and one of the best theater experiences I've ever had. Ooh. It is Captain America: Civil War.
Civil War.
And I don't know why that poster is so small, but yeah, this movie when it came out, I remember the trailer and was just I could not wait for this movie. I've often think it should have been called Avengers Civil War, but we'll let him let Cap have his title there. But the poster's up here on my wall. It is oh my gosh, that airport scene, the introduction to Tom Holland's Spider-Man, Black Panther, just the story. It was just I literally I sat in the theater like this the whole time. Just one of my favorite, not just comic movies, but one of my favorite movies of all time. This is just Marvel. This is the movie that it really put Marvel was like, okay, you can do no wrong right now. You guys are just killing it. You know?
And wasn't this the Russo's brothers' second one after Winter Soldier?
Yes, it is. Okay. Yeah. And I just after it came out, it was because this having that many characters come in. I know they did it with the Avengers, but that many different type of characters, it could have been done really badly. But the way the Russo brothers and Marvel put this movie together was just spectacular. Love this movie.
Yeah, it was. Oh man, so much fun. We did when I was in Ohio. Our summer theme was Civil War, based off this movie. So we started off the summer taking the youth group to go watch this movie, and then the rest of the summer was different lessons, and we bought shirts. I say Team Cap and Team Star.
Oh, that's cool.
Had a logo on the back, and we split everyone up, and the teams had wristbands, and then throughout the summer we had games where we competed constantly, and then whoever got the most points got like these prizes and stuff.
Oh, that's really cool.
So we were able to tie into a lot of stuff with it, but that whole plan could have failed if this movie was terrible. Thank God it wasn't.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the whole scene, he says, Tony, he was my friend, and Tony Stark says, so was I. That's, man. Yeah. Captain America, Civil War is number 7.
Excellent. So, all right. So now going up to number 6. So number 6. Now here's where it's like, all right, we're getting somewhere like, okay, Efren, we're not getting too far here, are we? But number 6, and it's just you just throw it up there. Avengers for me. The original Avengers. I was so glad that this came out in the last decade because I could again. It feels so long ago.
It really
does. That's what's crazy. It feels so long ago. But this is like when this movie came out, it was every comic book nerd's fan's dream. Like when Iron Man first came out, listen, when Iron Man first came out, I went and saw it, had no idea there was a post-credit scene.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize until later, a friend of mine's like, you didn't see it? And I was like, see what? The post-credit scene. I was like, what? You have to see it. So when I bought Iron Man, of course I went because at the time, my wife Katie was not a fan of watching movies multiple times in the theater. Now she's gone past that, thank God. But I couldn't do that with Iron Man. So when I bought it, I watched it and I was like, oh, they're bringing in the Avengers? Are you serious? Like, and then I went back and bought the Hulk because I watched the Hulk because the Hulk came out right after that in the same summer. So I watched that and then I saw that and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is just getting fantastic. And then so we were waiting for this,
Yeah.
We were just waiting. When I did the Marvel Marathon at an AMC down in Florida, watched,
Oh, that's cool.
Iron Man, Iron Man, Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, and Cap.
Mm-hmm.
And then you watch this at midnight. And it was just it was just such a fun movie. Was it like the deepest plot or anything? No, not really. It was pretty much point A to point B, get them together, they kind of argue. But it was just such a fun movie. And I just loved it so much. And I was like, this is what comic book movies like, bringing everyone together. I was like, wow, I can't believe they pulled it off. And it was just so much fun.
This was the first Marvel movie I saw in the theater.
Oh, my man.
I had seen all the other ones, but this is the first one I saw in the theater. I went with my brother-in-law, Michael. He was going on a Saturday night, and I actually called out of church the next morning to stay here in town because we lived an hour away. Mm-hmm. And I used one of my Sundays to go see this movie.
My man.
So, if anybody from our first church is watching, sorry, I was not sick. I was watching the Avengers. I've repented of that since. But and this movie is probably Tony Stark's funniest. Just thinking back to all the stuff he says especially how he talks to Thor. He calls him Point Break, and what's his Shakespeare in the Park? Does mother know you weareth her drapes? It's just man.
The Galaga line.
Yeah, we have a Hulk. And then that scene, he smashes Loki, puny god. Yeah. Oh man, great movie.
Everything about it. Josh Whedon killed it.
He did.
That's just he killed it on this movie. It was so good.
Man. It makes me rethink my list a little bit talking about it now, but we'll get to it. So, So what number am I? Am I number 6? Yeah, I can't count.
So 6. Well. Yeah, so you're number 6. We're on our last one for this round. Right.
So this is a movie that Efren introduced to me. This entire trilogy was introduced to me by Efren, but I'm gonna go. Boom. War for the Planet of the Apes.
Yes. Love this movie.
So I blind bought this movie. I saw the first one years ago when it came out. Loved it. For some reason, I don't know what happened. I never saw the sequels until maybe 2 months ago. So this movie is very fresh in my mind. But all 3 of these movies are absolutely spectacular. This trilogy, I feel, is very underrated.
Yes.
And I put this movie here because it just wraps it all up and is just if you haven't seen these movies, you need to see them. Just the story, the way Andy Serkis just continues to be underappreciated.
Genius, really.
Absolutely. And the way he plays Caesar is just this movie really deals with the whole it's the culmination of a story of the apes versus the people, military versus, is just check it out. It's my number 6 on this list, and the whole trilogy is worth a watch. Actually, I had a couple in my small group just recently watch these based on my recommendation. So you recommended them to me. I bought them, watched them, and then I recommended them. So I'm passing along the message.
The fact that you bought it blind buy says a lot.
That's because I found it a good deal on eBay, and I was like, I'm buying them. And wow, yeah, love these movies. Check them out. If you haven't seen the trilogy, check it out.
Yes, please do. We love this, and obviously, since I recommended, we'll be talking about this later for me. But
I figured we would.
Yeah, we would. We definitely would. All right, so before we head into our top 5, take a little break for honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions.
And Gary and I were actually talking before we went live because we both have a very long list. and then trying to narrow it down to 10 was very, very
10
difficult.
years worth of movies. This is a long list.
Exactly. It was it's not like next year when we do top 10 of 2020, we have like 12 to choose from. It'll be so much easier. But like with this, it just, there was just so much. And then when we keep searching, and the thing is, it's like this morning I had to make a shuffle because I was like, oh, I can't believe I forgot these. One of them was Bumblebee. Just so you know, I was like, I can't believe I forgot Bumblebee. So I had to stick that in there. So some honorable mentions here. And, I guess I can go ahead and start that because you'll start the top 5. So we're just going to kind of go through these movies. We're not going to talk too much about them, but we're just going to kind of go through. That's
highlight them.
All right. So the highlight, Big Hero 6. Hero 6.
Man.
Very underrated movie. And it was a movie that, I mean, it won an Oscar for animated film the year it came out. But I loved Big Hero 6. Everything like when I walked out of Big Hero, I got to say this real quick. I was like, see, Fox, it's not that hard to do a Fantastic Four movie. Like, I know there were 6 people, so it made it a little bit harder. You can do it right, darn it. So Big Hero 6, loved it. Guardians of the Galaxy was on my honorable mentions. To me, at the time when that came out, I was like my favorite Marvel movie because of the Space Odyssey. Yep. So I love that. The Martian. With
Martian.
Matt Damon. Oh, yeah, see, there we go. Oh, no, there it is. So The Martian. Just happened to go see it because me and Katie want something to watch. What a great movie. Like when you have one person by themselves trying to carry a movie, like kind of like, it was just so good. Split is on here. The surprise of the decade really for everybody. But when you see my other top 10s, you know why, but Split, Moana is on here. Not just because when I had my long hair, everyone thought I looked like Maui, but I legit.
It did, yeah.
Listen, I took the girls to go see this like 3 or 4 times in the theater. So we love that movie.
It's one of my daughter's favorite.
Yes. Batman vs Superman, the real edition. All right, let's just put it that way. The real edition. Again, I think you'll understand why it's in honorable mentions and not top 10 when we continue through. Yeah. But that's in there. Arrival.
I never saw that.
Oh man, you need to go see it. Arrival's really good. Wonder Woman's on here. No more needs to be said. Spider-Man: Homecoming, Ready Player One, Super 8. I don't know if you ever saw Super 8.
I saw Super 8.
Oh man,
forgot about that.
That was good. Yeah, Pacific Rim. Oh my gosh, I love Pacific Rim. I went. No one wanted to see it with me. It was just a fun kaiju movie. Gosh, it was so much fun. There's a movie called Searching. I don't know if you've ever heard that movie. It's about a guy who his daughter goes missing, but you see the whole movie through the lens of like social media, and they give you, it looks like social media outlets, and it's really good, and it has a really good twist. And honestly, for parents everywhere, like it is a good, like, make sure you're involved with your kids' lives and know what's going on.
Searching, I'll check that out. I have to search for that
one. My dad puns. Sorry. I love it. Knives Out. Knives Out is another one.
I need to see that one still. I haven't seen it.
Good murder mystery, good fun. A little, at times, a little much on the language, but I mean, it's still fun. And then Avengers End Game, of course, is in my honorable mentions. And that one was hard to keep out of the top 10. Yeah, it was really hard to keep that one out of the top 10. But
I respect it.
But when we go through, I think you'll understand.
Okay.
I think people watching might understand. But so there you go. There's our mine. All
right. So very good list. My honorable mentions are, we'll start off with a movie called Prisoners. Starring Hugh Jackman, Jake Gyllenhaal, 2 of my favorite actors. Really great movie. Another one people don't really talk about. Very dark movie, but very good movie. Wonder Woman. Arguably maybe DC's best. DCEU. The Book of Eli.
Oh, yes.
2010, so it just made the cut. You'll be hearing about that when we talk about underrated, underappreciated. True Grit. I'm a huge Western fan. This was a phenomenal Western. Fast 5.
I forgot about Fast 5.
Favorite of the Fast and the Furious movies. Warrior with Tom Hardy. Really good movie, very underrated. The Dark Knight Rises.
Yes.
The Dark Knight Rises is an honorable mention that hurts. It just is.
Well, if The Dark Knight was in the past decade.
In the Dark, yeah, I mean, absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, we'll be talking about that one soon. The first Avengers movie is an honorable mention. Love it, but just didn't quite make it.
Fair enough.
Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, one of my favorite Marvel movies. Whiplash with J.K. Simmons.
I did not see that one.
Really great movie. A little rough on the language, but Whiplash is really good. Hacksaw Ridge.
Yes.
Amazing
I knew
movie.
I forgot one. I actually had that in my top 10 and I had to bump it out. And I forgot to stick that on my honorable mention. So throw that one in there for me.
Yeah. I cried like a baby during this movie. I did. Thor Ragnarok.
Yes.
Probably just fun. Absolutely just a fun. You know, a fun. It's fun. Ready Player One. You know, you mentioned that one as well. A Quiet Place is an honorable mention. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Now, I know this hurts you. It's not in my top 10.
It does hurt a little bit, but whatever, man.
But it
it's your right to be wrong. It's fine.
Right. But it is it is very good, very good. I put the Star Wars Disney trilogy, whatever you want to call it. Put that in there. I'm a fan of those movies. I'm sure we'll talk about that at some point. But
we'll have to.
Yeah. And my last honorable mention is Batman vs Superman, the Ultimate Edition, the Right Edition. I like this movie. Every time I watch it, I like it even more. And this one and Into the Spider-Verse will someday probably creep into the top 10. But movies.
Which is respectable. I mean, like I said, it's respectable, and hopefully, maybe I'll understand some reasons why like Avengers didn't make your top 10 or why Into the Spider-Verse. Hopefully you'll show me why with your top 5. Because I am really perplexed.
I think so.
I'm really perplexed.
I think you'll appreciate my top 5. I think you'll understand. Maybe. I don't know.
I hope so. Because we might have to have words. Because Into the Spider. Come on, man.
I know.
So, all right. So digging into our top 5 now. I guess, Gary, go ahead and start that one off since I started off the last 2.
Number 5. One that's already been mentioned. This movie is an absolute masterpiece. It is. Boom.
Okay. All right.
I don't know why my posters are so small, but
we'll figure that out later.
Everything you said to start this off about this movie, I second that. This movie, I walked out of theater absolutely loving it. I'm still today shocked that we didn't get a better DCEU with this phenomenal start. Man of Steel is an absolute masterpiece. I will argue that for all of my days. It is just so good. Like I just said about those other movies, I like it even more every time I watch it. And if you want to know my thoughts, go back to the beginning of this video and watch what Efren said. I don't want to repeat what he said. But, I agree extremely. But
just thought of another segment for us: movies that should have gotten a sequel.
You dang right. You dang right.
Come on.
There's rumors that J.J. Abrams is looking to direct a Man of Steel.
Yeah, I did see those rumors
with Sir Henry Cavill. But my favorite Superman, and like I said, like you said, I'm not the biggest Superman fan. I'm not. But this movie, I could watch it over and over again. I mean, Henry Cavill plays Superman perfectly. Kevin Costner, Russell Crowe, Diane, his mom, I can't remember her last name. So good in this movie. What's her
Diane
name?
Lane.
Diane Lane. Yeah. Yep. Oh man. Yes.
Can I go ahead and make some people mad real quick?
Sure.
Can I do that?
I know what you're gonna say.
Henry Cavill, best Superman ever.
Absolutely, I second that. And that's that's not meant to be disrespectful to Christopher Reeve. I think
none at all.
For that time period, Christopher Reeve was what he needed to be. It's like saying Adam West's Batman for that time period.
Correct.
You know what I mean? But Henry Cavill just. We're going to do an episode just based on that one day. I'm sorry. If it's just me talking about myself, I'm sorry. But I don't want to spend the next 30 minutes talking about that. But Man of Steel is
got to stay on track.
It is a masterpiece.
It is.
So
and totally deserved. And again, people need to respect it more, man. They just need to. They need to respect it way more than they have. So, all right. So here we go. So here's my number 5, and this will probably come of no surprise to you, Gary, but it's Inception. And
Okay.
excuse me, I have there we go. Let's change that to what we're actually talking about. We're not on honorable mentions. But anyways, so Inception. This is a movie that, of course, at first, like I said last week, I was upset was coming out by Christopher Nolan because I'm like, yo, you got to finish Batman.
Yeah.
Like why in
What
the
are
world?
you doing?
Yeah, like why are you working on this thing? Of course, I saw the trailer. I'm like, oh, okay, because I really enjoy like psychological, weird, messing with your minds type of movies. I really love stuff like that. That's why I love Prestige, which is another one. But when this movie came out, and just the whole like dream and dream within a dream, and then you can like have Inception, you can make people like try to put an idea in their head, but it can consume them. And so just kind of the way they dealt with it. Of course, there are some things about it where it's like, can you really share a dream like that? Like, come on, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, oh dear heavens, someone's trying to call me for some reason. But this movie where it just kind of, like I said, it just messed with your head, kept you guessing, like, are they going to be able to pull this off? The stakes were always high. Like throughout the whole thing, the stakes were high because he's running from the law. He's running from people that want to kill him. Oh, now it's your turn. But the stakes are so high. And that's why I was just like, huh?
I'll let Dom get that.
Yeah, good. And so I just absolutely love this movie. And look, and here's my sister on here. She says, this isn't to me. This is to you.
Oh, I
and
saw
to
it.
my 10.
I was trying not to acknowledge it.
Man of lame. How dare you, Katya?
I don't
Like,
want to.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No. Listen, I will have words with my sister later. That's all right. But
Yeah,
how dare you?
I'll let
How
you handle
dare
that one. I don't want to disrespect your family.
So, but anyways, Inception, top notch. Gotcha. We'll talk later about Man of Steel and why it's awesome because we don't have time to dig into it right now.
We do not. No.
But anyways, so side note though, hopefully maybe Gotcha, we can have you on here with us talking about some stuff.
Yeah,
and the reason why later we'll find out. But there's Indigo. Inception is
right.
my number 5.
So my number 4, is that where I'm at? Number 4?
Yes, you're number 4.
Let's see. Where are we? There we go. Number 4 is a movie we've already talked about, but boom, there it is.
Boom.
Infinity War. Everything you said earlier, just spectacular. Everything they started building with the original Avengers, Civil War, all those movies just came to this moment, and it was just such an amazing, just one of my favorite theater experiences. I'll never forget Thor landing into Wakanda, with Rocket, and just, man. And the ending, I've never left a theater a more quiet theater. Quieted,
Sure.
with how this movie ends,
Yeah.
And what you said, they don't, this is the part 1 of a story. They don't win, But yeah, Infinity War is my number 4.
Perfect. Man, I love it when we agree on things.
There we go. Yeah.
So, yeah, so nothing more to add there. So we can move on then to my number 4, which let me make sure I can pull it up here properly. And my number 4 here is, just take this, Gary. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
I respect it.
Don't come at me with your honorable mention crap. This is a top 10 movie, man.
I respect it.
Okay.
Hey.
Yeah, but listen, like this movie, like when I first saw the trailer, I had no idea it was coming. All right. When I first saw the trailer, I was hyped because I was like, look at that anime. It looks like a comic book. It looks like a comic book. And I was just completely blown away by it. And then I went and I took Sayla, my oldest, I took her to go see this movie. And me and her both, like, so you have a grown man and you have at the time, I guess, a 7-year-old, 6 or 7-year-old. And we were both just like, oh my gosh, this looks so good. It's like, it's like the comic book like came out at you. And like, I've never seen, I don't know if anyone has ever seen animation like this before. And like, yes, it's not like,
it's a game changer. I'll get that.
It was a game. It was a complete game changer. The score, the soundtrack, the voice acting, like everything about this movie, the storytelling, because like one big thing that people were worried about was like, how are they going to do all these different Spider-Man? Like when they say when you have too many characters, how do you do it right? They did it right. They nailed it. I cannot wait for Into the Spider-Verse 2. To me, where this was such a game changer, I'm like, it had to be in top 5. And this was one that I was like, this morning, I was like, how did I forget about this movie? Like this has to go in there. So I had to put this in, and but complete game changer. Animation's just
I
phenomenal
will say,
story.
back in the day when we used to have our offices down the hall from each other, the next morning after you saw this is probably the most excited I've ever seen you talk about a movie.
There it is.
And yeah, it just didn't. I love it. I think it's great. Don't get me wrong. I was watching it the other night with the kids. My kids love it as well. It just didn't quite make my top 10.
Yeah, well, you better have a darn good reason. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. All right. All right. So my number 3 is okay. This is a movie that, you know, sometimes.
Am I about to be disappointed?
No, I don't think
Okay,
so. Okay. Oh, maybe. I don't know. Who knows? Sometimes movies are because sometimes we love movies just because of the time period we were in when we saw them. You know.
Okay.
So my number 3 is a movie that I absolutely adore. Is one of my favorite movies of all time, and it is Silver Linings Playbook. This movie came out at a time. I won't get too much into it. I needed this movie when I saw it. How this movie talks and discusses things like mental health and communication between people, and is just such a phenomenal movie. I have a quote from this movie framed on my desk right here. I'm looking at it, and I adore this movie so much. Bradley Cooper, arguably his best role. Jennifer Lawrence, back when she made movies when she cared. You know, she is so great in this movie. The supporting cast: Robert De Niro, Chris Tucker is he's not playing like an over-the-top character, but he is hilarious in this movie. It's a little bit rough on the language at times, but with the subject matter, it kind of makes sense as to why. Some of my favorite scenes in any movie, one of my favorite movies of all time, Silver Linings Playbook. It is my number 3.
Okay. I've never watched it, so I don't know. So I just have to take your word for it on this.
I think it's on Netflix, but like I said, it's got some language there. But I don't know. I absolutely adore this movie.
Yeah, fair enough. There we go. So then moving on then to my number 3, and then and this is a movie that this movie did something that I just always love when movies do, and you know exactly once I pop it up here is 1917. So it's 1917 is my number 3. Aha, there we go. See, you forgot about it, didn't you?
I hadn't seen it.
Oh, you hadn't seen it. Oh, okay, okay.
No.
Well, that makes a little bit more sense there. But like I am a sucker for a one shot like scene or like take or whatever. You know, like the one shot filming. Black Panther used it in one scene when they were fighting in that club. You know, the camera just constantly moves. And I'm a sucker for that. I don't know why. I just absolutely love that technique. And that's probably the most like sophisticated and movie critic I'll ever sound. This is what I just heard. But I just love that. And then when I saw the trailer that, wow, this is kind of what it's doing. And like the whole movie has that one take feel. It was just, it just blew me away. The story itself was like, the story's simple. He's trying to deliver a message to save a bunch of people from walking into an ambush. That's the whole story. But walking through it, you really feel what's going on. You feel like, man, you get a sense of like what it was like to be in this is World War I, what it's like to be in a war like that. But the acting, like everything about it, like even the music, like silence and music, like we talked about Quiet Place, was used perfectly for tension and all that. It was so good. It was one of those like I don't always pre-order movies, but I pre-ordered this one so it'll show up at my house because it came out because of COVID. So so it'd show up at my house the day it came out, and I watched it like 2 more times, once with my dad, once with Katie. It's just way too good. It's just too good.
This is a movie I tried to get away and go see several times when it came out in the theaters. I just could never, scheduling issues, could never get to the theater to see it. And sadly, I've yet to see it. It's been on my to-watch list for several months now. I love war movies. I do. You know, especially, and it's hard to do a war movie that hasn't been done before. And, you know, kind of like in this style, but I really want to see it.
Yeah.
So,
it is, it's a movie that is a little harsh on the language at times, but you know, they're depicting, again, it's like what you said, Silver Lining Playbook. At least it kind of makes sense. I mean, they're British,
Mm-hmm.
They like, it's not constant and annoying, but they have a few F
Yeah.
bombs and stuff. But like,
Well, here's what I'll say to that, and that's what I said about Saving Private Ryan before. When you got bullets flying around your head and you're in war, you're not saying "good golly," you know.
that's all right.
But I mean, there's going to be some language in movies like this,
Yeah.
you know.
But it wasn't, yeah, it just wasn't over the top like some movies do.
Yeah,
It
gotcha.
was, but it was like,
Hmm.
but it was good. It's definitely one of those like, yeah, if you want to watch a good movie with a wife or something, no need to
Okay.
have the kids around. But
No,
like,
yeah,
something like that's not too bad.
gotcha. Well, my number two is a movie we've already talked about, and I'm going to try to keep it short because I could go on and on and on about this movie.
Uh-oh.
And there it is,
End
End
Game.
Game. I'm obsessed with this movie, Efren. I'm absolutely obsessed with this movie. I sat in the theater and was just in awe of what I was watching. I thought the way they wrapped up this story was absolute perfection. I've watched it over and over and over again. I have it playing in the background around the house when I don't have a podcast to listen to or I'm not watching anything else. I love the way they wrap the story up. I love everything about it. I love the beginning when, it's just such an unexpected beginning. I love how they marketed this movie,
Yes.
And how it wraps up. This is the last movie I cried at. This is it.
Oh.
I absolutely, and there's several scenes in this movie that, when I saw this initially, if I wasn't like on the edge of clapping or like cheering or whatever, I was tearing up, Just, yeah.
Yep. I mean, I love this movie too, but you know why it stayed out of the top 10 for me? Because as much as I love Avengers End Game, had the right amount of fan service. They wrapped up the story well. They handled time jumping, time travel. I thought they handled it well, and they made fun of other,
Yes,
so
they did.
I thought they were self-aware of what they were doing. So I thought everything was so good, but I just thought Infinity War was a better movie. Like alone, I just thought Infinity War was a better movie. That's why this one ended up not making it, because if I have to choose one, then I'm watching Infinity War. I just thought so. Yeah. That's kind of why.
Absolutely, I respect that. I think 1A, 1B. You know what I mean? You can't really. I would never argue with anyone that says they like one of these over the other. And I think we're at some point soon on this show, we're going to do a deep dive into these movies because they deserve it.
Absolutely.
So that is my number two.
Yep. So excellent. So my number two then, just keep rolling along here, and if I can find it. Here we go. My number two. This will probably come as no surprise to you, Gary. I'm just going to pop it up there. Ford versus Ferrari. Forgot about that one, didn't you?
I did. Dang
Oh man. Well, to your credit, like to help you out though, like you just watched it a few months ago,
I just
like
watched
for the first time. Because
Yeah.
again, I was like, Gary, you have to watch this movie.
Yeah.
So, but Ford versus Ferrari, man, when I first saw the trailer for this, all I could think of was, I have to go see this with my dad, because as I told you, Gary, before, normal families had normal bedtime stories. Maybe they read the Disney books. They had normal one of my bedtime stories was this story. My dad always told me about how Ford came out, wanted to be Ferrari, wanted to make the Ford GT. They wanted to get into the game. And he told me about the story of the Le Mans in the '66 when this happened. So this is a story I got. And then so I was like, I have to go watch this. And I'm like, Matt Damon and Christian Bale. Oh, come on. This is those two great actors. So I have to go see it. We go to the theater. I am the youngest guy in this theater. And we sit next to this older couple, and this guy looks at me. He goes, "What do you know, young man, about this?" And my dad's like, "Oh, he knows. I told him plenty." And I was like, "I can't
young
wait."
Whippersnapper about these cars.
That's right. Because my dad, he was in the Navy, but he was a mechanic, and he was a car mechanic as well. And, so he loved cars. All my car obsession stuff is because of him. And I couldn't wait to watch. And then when I watched it, I was like, you've said this about Man of Steel. I'm saying it here. You said this about War for Planet of the Apes. Masterpiece. This movie is a sheer masterpiece. Yeah. Honestly, the fact that it didn't win more awards than it did. I can't remember if it did at all, but just utter master. I know 1917 beat it out on stuff.
Yeah.
But
it deserved to be. It was so good.
I know it was so good. And again, we can probably deep dive later, but Ford versus Ferrari, if you haven't seen it, great story. Even if you're like, well, I'm not a car fan, it's bigger. It's a lot bigger than the story is a lot bigger than just the cars and the racing.
And just when I thought I'd seen Christian Bale and Matt Damon's best performances, then they come out with this movie. And I was just the way both of them spectacular. And one of my favorite directors working today, James Mangold, is just I don't think he's done anything I haven't liked. To be honest with you,
which surprises me because you brought him up last week about Indiana Jones.
Yeah,
and so the fact that you forgot about it surprises me.
I did.
Well, there you go.
Dang it. Let's go back in time and let's just say that one is If you haven't seen that movie, I think we've said this a lot. That is spectacular.
Yeah.
I'll say a little bit about that movie. I know we're kind of pushed for time, but I Redboxed it, and it is on my Blu-ray wish list, by the way. And the kids were napping while I was watching it, and my son Carter started saying, "Dada, I'm awake. I need to go potty." Blah blah. And I was like, at the end of the movie, and I was just ignoring him, just wait, trying to finish this movie.
Being a good dad.
I know, right? The movie was so good, I ignored my kids. There we go. I was just saying.
There it is.
Yep. So, all right. So we both at our number ones now?
Yep, we're both at our number ones.
All right.
So go ahead, my man. Reveal your number one.
Okay. One of just my opinion, best movie of the decade. I just throw it out there. Right there.
All right.
Inception.
Respect.
Inception.
All right.
My wife and I went and saw this together. We were dating at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife, Megan, she watches a movie. She likes movies. She watches it. She's done with it. She's like, yeah, it's good. Oh, yeah, I didn't like it. She's not one to really talk about it. We went and saw this movie together while we were dating. And then we went to an Outback Steakhouse around the corner. And we sat there eating our steaks and cheese fries and bloomin' onion because, I was about 300 pounds at the time. So, and we just sat and we're just could not stop talking about this movie. Myself and her. Original, edge of your seat, all that stuff. This movie is it has it all. Sitting there, just everything you said about this movie, I'll say that. And just, Christopher Nolan is just how he put this movie together. The cast, Leonardo DiCaprio, one of my favorite actors of all time, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Tom Hardy, Michael Caine, just everything about this movie is absolutely spectacular. It is a masterpiece. It is my favorite movie of the decade and one of my favorite movies of all time, Inception.
Respect. Yep. I mean, I had it at number 5 for a reason.
Yeah.
So, but this movie, I
love
Inception.
I mean,
yeah. I'll watch it, and Katie's like, "You're watching it again? Like, doesn't it lose its luster?" I'm like, "No, this movie never."
So rewatchable.
Yep.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
So then,
Inception.
I guess we'll move on to my number one, and honestly, Gary, I think you know what my number one is.
I have an idea.
And I might be cheating, but I don't care. So let's just be honest. So here we go. Planet of the Apes trilogy.
I knew it.
Yeah, like you do. I'm just putting the trilogy on here. Like I said, this might be cheating, but I don't care.
Real quick. I was trying to not say too much about when I had this on my list because I knew it was going to be coming up later, and I wanted to give you the floor. Everything you need to say about this.
Yeah. So a little bit of background. Like, I remember watching with my dad the Charlton Heston. What I forget how you say it, Charles Heston. There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Planet of the Apes. I remember watching that with my dad. I was like, "Oh, this is pretty cool." Like, whatever. And then Tim Burton came out with his. Absolutely hated it. Just such a terrible movie. Hated that thing. This doesn't need to be spoke of again.
Dang you, Dirty Apes! Am I right? All right.
I'm all right. But Rise of the Planet of the Apes comes out. And the whole reason why I went is because Caesar looked awesome, and then James Franco was in it, and so I was like, "All right, I'll go get this thing. I'll go get this thing and watch." Blew my mind, absolutely blew my mind. I love that it was a prequel and they're building up the story. Absolutely loved it, and then of course I'm like, when Dawn came out, I was like, I have to go watch it. Which, by the way, watch the beginning of Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. It pretty much predicted COVID-19. At least that's what it feels like. Yeah. But absolutely love that. And then when War came out, and I remember arguing with a few people because they're like, they need to stop with these Planet of the Apes movies. I'm like, absolutely not. They haven't finished the story. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, keep going.
War comes out, and I was like, I got to go. I go and I watch it, there was an intern here that was with us. He goes with me, and I'm sitting there in the theater again, just in awe, just in absolute awe. And I am just like, this is a masterpiece. The acting in it, and I don't care what anybody says. Andy Serkis is acting. He is really
absolutely
there in his, in his motion capture stuff. Just because, but even if it's Caesar, you kind of see his face in Caesar. Like the fact that he did not win a single award for Best Actor or anything for any of these movies is a travesty. And
anyone,
he is phenomenal.
if any, just in case anybody from the Oscars or that committee or whatever who plans that stuff,
yeah,
don't just give Andy Serkis an award. Give him an entire segment of an Oscar show and just pay homage to this man. He deserves it.
Absolutely. He deserves it. With Gollum and Lord of the Rings, like bringing that out and just what he done with the acting with that, and the fact that he just goes all into it. Like on the Blu-ray, which we can dig into this earlier, they really do a good job on the Blu-ray of these movies honoring him.
Oh yes, they do.
We can talk about that in a different segment. But these three movies, and the reason why I was like, I just got to stick them all together is because it is one big story.
It is.
All three are continuous, one big story, and it had the perfect ending. And you just see about love, loss, sacrifice being selfless, and how people can just have hatred because they can't get over their wounds of how people have treated them. In Dawn, with Dawn of the Planet of the Apes with Koba. And then the repercussions of that, and just dealt with so many great issues, like what you talked about with humanity and how they fear what they don't know or what they don't understand. So that you can go back and watch these movies now with everything going on, and you can learn something of how to react and stuff. But even beyond that, there's a story, everything about them. These three movies are just an absolute masterpiece, wrapped up perfectly. My second favorite trilogy of all time. And which what the first one is, but I don't know. Maybe we'll want to save some of that for best trilogies for later. But second favorite trilogy of all time. It's like I told you. For me to have a great trilogy, you have to have a great first movie, a better second movie, and a phenomenal third.
Oh yeah.
And usually, sometimes you don't get a good sequel. But if you get a great sequel, sometimes the third kind of falls off. This one did not. All three just built, and it was phenomenal.
And you can't have one without the other. Some trilogies you can watch, we talked about Star Wars, the ones that just came out. You can watch those kind of on their own sometimes and not really need the next one. These you have to, what I mean? They have to go in order. Because it is a continuous story. Yeah. Absolutely phenomenal. And one day these movies, I hope will get the appreciation they deserve.
Yeah. Yeah. So Cole Vandiver says, I got these movies as a gag gift and got rid of them. You made the wrong decision, my friend. You made the absolute wrong decision.
Some things just should not be said. I don't even want to. We're talking about good things today. Cole, you're being shunned.
Yeah. Sorry,
24
Cole.
hours. 24 hours.
So here's my sister. She says, this is where I'll chime in and express the importance of animators and how much they do is essential to the acting that you see in the final product and why one person can't claim all the credit. But seriously, yes. He did a great job acting, but it's true. The animators made Caesar come alive too, in what they did and how they did it. And so and I don't even know the animators, maybe you can tell. I don't know the animators got the credit they deserve for this movie either.
Probably not.
To be honest, because I feel like these movies came and went and no one talked about them.
Yeah, anyone that had anything to do with these movies didn't get the credit they deserved.
Yes.
And this is why I'm holding out hope for the new Batman movie, because Matt Reeves is directing that, and he directed these movies. Yeah. Great trilogy.
So, and then my sister, yes, I'm here just to bother my big brother. That's my girl.
Well, you bothered me as well with your Man of Steel comment earlier. So
that's right. But my sister, I mean, she's an animator, so this is why she brings that up. Hopefully, again, we'll have my sister on here to talk about some of her stuff and her experiences, and get some people with some real knowledge, not just some opinions.
Cool. That'd be really cool.
But yeah, so there is. There's
our top 10.
Top 10s, man.
Yeah.
So, and you guys, if you're watching this later on, if you weren't able to catch us live, no big deal. If you're watching this later on, and you still would like to comment let us know anything. Hey, what your top 10s are. Do you agree, disagree? I mean, like we said, a lot of this is opinions, so some of you will
Let us
agree.
know.
That's fine. Like, I don't agree that Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse should not have been in Gary's top 10.
Hey,
He can be wrong,
I
and that's
respect
fine.
I don't agree that Endgame was an honorable mention. I think that's a travesty. But hey, the Chad Infinity War in there.
That's right. So, yeah, let us know. We love to chat with you. Remember, we keep things friendly around here. And when it comes to movies, we can disagree. It's fine. And we can still all
Absolutely.
be friends. So,
Yes.
let us know what your top 10s are. We would love to hear it. And thank you guys for joining us.
Join us back here next week. Same time, same channel.
That's right. We will be here. And remember what we're talking about next week? I forgot.
I
I
do
know you
not.
sent it. I know you sent it to me.
Yeah.
Hey, be on the lookout. We'll get it ready. We'll have it
Stay
out there.
tuned.
Yes, and we'll see what we're talking about next, and hopefully we'll have more movie news and exciting stuff coming up that we can review and start talking about because we miss the movies.
We do.
I cannot wait to get back to the movie theater.
Absolutely.
So,
All right. Bye, friends.
all right. See you, everybody. Thank you so much for being here with us. We will see you next time. Have a great week.